Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sugar Free Self Care TV. Oh my goodness, I've been so blessed to have these amazing guests with me on my show. Today, I have an amazing person here. This is Ellamay, you guys. She is a program coordinator at Easterseals, and I've been working with her for several months now. I think over half a year now. And just so awesome to have her here today. So thank you, Ellamay, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yay, awesome. And so I'm just curious, Ellamay, like I know we've been working together for like more than half of a year, but let's go back to why you signed up to begin with, thinking about like, middle of COVID and all that stuff. But yeah, what was going on through your mind that basically inspired you to want to work with me like a sugar cravings coach?
Well, I actually did, I think, your 1 week or 2 week challenge back in the beginning of 2019, and that really made me feel good. Um, with COVID and whatnot, I felt that when you gave me the opportunity to join the actual 6 week course, I was working from home, the kids were at home, no activities to drive to, so I really felt that it was a time that I could implement myself and maybe focus a little bit more on myself.
Mm.
Um, at that time, myself more mentally, just having a lot of struggles in itself. Just taking care of myself in general is something I don't do at all. And I really was hating how my mind was telling me all these things, how I was looking, how I was feeling. I wasn't enjoying life, how my kids were just too much at times, especially during that time because they were home all the time. But it was something I needed to cope with, but I needed to better myself in order to better my life.
Right, right. And I mean, that could be such a hard role to play for like, gosh, I mean, especially with COVID, right? You wore so many hats, like you were working at your job, and then now you have to homeschool your kids, and then now you also need to work on yourself. So it's like a lot of things you're juggling there. And so I know you're mentioning a lot though about the self-care aspect and taking care of yourself first. I guess before you worked with me, like what was your self-care like? Like, was it even there, or how did you take care of yourself before? Or not?
It barely existed.
Okay. Not barely existent. Okay. Like
Yeah,
so was it like, because I know in your role too, because you said you work with children with special sorry, like
with adults with
special needs.
disabilities, yes.
Okay. Right. And that kind of line of work, it's like very focused on what they're needing, and also your role as a mom and taking care of your kids. Did you find like it was that kind of situation, like putting everyone else before you, and then at the end of the day, nothing left
Yes,
in the tank for you kind of thing?
definitely.
Mm.
Definitely. I've always lived my whole life just taking care of everybody and not myself. I don't think I ever even was taught myself how to take care of myself because I'm always, as long as they're doing good, I'm good, but I really wasn't good.
Mm. Right. Right. And how did you make the decision to finally get help though? Because I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of women especially struggle with even signing up, because it's like that fear of like not knowing if fear of failing, or not knowing if they actually will get any better. Like what helped you have the courage to kind of make that choice to be like, hey, you know what? Like I need help.
I think it was more of a commitment thing. I always don't commit to myself. I
Mm.
always start things and then I stop, or I say like, "Oh, I'm into this for a week," and then it's like, "Oh, well, I can't do that this week. I can't take care of myself because I have to do water polo. I have to do this. I have to do PTA. I have to do work." So it was never like a consistency for me to take care of myself. I would always try, and then it was just like I hit a point where weight wise it was ridiculous. The last time I weighed that much, I was pregnant at
Mm.
9 months. and and just mentality wise, I went through a lot of stuff in life, and I have shared with you that I was taking medication to help with my anxiety, and that's not something that I wanted to just be okay with, just living life and feeling okay and having to depend on. I mean, my kids are going to be grown one day. If I don't love myself, what's going to happen to me when I'm home alone?
Right.
Or like, do I want to keep having these thoughts? Do I want to keep treating myself this way? So it was really just like I was tired of myself. Like I needed to be this person that was in me, but it was buried so deep that it was just time to just, you need to do this. You need to give it your all and just go for it.
Right. And that's amazing though. I could just feel like I love that decisiveness and that commitment to yourself. Like I could just feel you like saying that to me. And I'm just so proud of you for making that decision, because it's a big decision for a lot of people, especially if you're not used to even taking care of yourself. Is like, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna have to invest in myself. Like what the heck? So I mean, I just wanted to commend you for that. But yeah, like so when you decided to join, what was it that you learned like going through this program? Because I know it's like, it is a weight loss program, but what is it that you learned that helped you start getting the results you wanted and taking care of yourself?
Obviously, well,
Hmm.
planning was a big thing about it. Whether it was for food or life or work, it was actually planning, not just having a bunch of chaos thrown at me.
Hmm.
um, but also there's a lot of steps in your program that really helped, just have like to like have myself take a step back and really look at how and what I was doing, and really critique it, and just little by little. I mean, it wasn't like I joined your program and like voila, like I did this. Like it was teamwork, and I was able to reach out to you. We had our meetings, which is really nice. I mean, I shed tears. It was things that were in there that needed to come out. And just, I would say definitely the steps, just all the steps and the information that you give. And, but you definitely have to take part into it. I have to say that, like, that was one of the hardest parts for me, was actually having to step out of my comfort zone and actually do it.
Hmm. Right. Like not just learn, but actually, when you plan the meals, actually like, eat the meals and cook the meals and, you know, evaluate and assess yourself. And, that the work has to be done for you to get the results you want. And then what shifts did you notice like after your planning, after you were going to the meetings and like you're learning all these things, like, what what were some of the biggest like changes in, I guess, like your mindset or your relationship with yourself that you noticed throughout this process? Like how is that changing?
Well, I actually, like, I wake up, I feel great, just by the nourishment that I'm doing to my body. I wake up, I don't feel like sluggish. I'm up. I'm like, let's do this. We got to plan our day. Um, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm not saying horrible things to myself. I could say much better things to myself than I'm saying right now, but I am working on it. But they are not horrible things. I don't look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, you're so fat. I remind myself constantly, like, look at where you are, look at where like, how far you've gone. And just imagine how much, like, if you keep doing this, you will reach to where you want to be and still continue to become greater physically and mentally, self care wise and life wise, actually.
Right. Right. And then that's so important, like how we talk to ourselves, even if it's like first thing in the mirror, because we're always, I feel like, especially women, when it comes to how we look and all these societal beliefs of how women should look, it's kind of like we have this old programming of like, you're supposed to look this way and you beat yourself up if you don't look a certain way, and so we have these sort of like we have these thoughts that are kind of automatic and they just come up, and knowing how to navigate that. So I love that you're like training yourself. Like you really have to think on purpose and think intentionally about yourself and really be mindful of the words you are saying to yourself. So I love that you were making that switch, and I think that's what makes this program help with the weight loss and the self-care part. It's just like it's more than just what you do, like, eating the right foods and planning is important, but if you're talking to yourself in a way that's not loving or not serving you, you know it's going to feel like crap, and then you really won't want to do like anything. So when you're changing the language in your head, what did you notice about like the habits you're starting to take? Like, did you notice like changes when you're starting to
Oh
talk to
yeah,
yourself
definitely.
differently?
I was actually prioritizing myself and not not saying that, like, oh, like it's all about me. It was just like when I woke up in the morning, I was preparing, warming up my meals while preparing meals for the kids. Just always, just, I don't know, even my kids could see it. Like they see that like I want to go places, I want to do things because I'm feeling better in my body because I mean the weight loss and just I'm being kinder to myself and just again just doing the steps and it just makes you feel incredible. Like
Right. Right. And I was curious too, because I do have a lot of moms asking me for feedback. Like a lot of moms are struggling right now with especially if they want to eat like sugar free or eat in this way. Like how would you like what advice would you give to them? Because a lot of them I'm noticing there's first of all a lot of guilt around like putting themselves first, and then they also don't know how do I navigate, how do I like how I cook for them and cook for me, and like how did you personally deal with those things? Because I can't say that personally for me since I'm not a mom, but I know a lot of moms are struggling with this right now.
yeah, well the meal prepping on Sundays really helped for me if I made a bunch of food for myself on Sunday
Hmm.
because then I can just heat it up along the week and then I'm only pertaining to what they want to eat. But also I don't make it to where like they can just eat whatever they want. I got really creative with cauliflower. Like they enjoy cauliflower pizza with the cauliflower crust.
Oh, nice.
Cauliflower rice. I don't even think they know it's not rice. As long
Right.
as they have the soy sauce, they're good.
Hmm.
Um, oh my gosh, I can't even. Okay. Um, but just I don't know. I think they started eating better. Well, I know they actually started implementing better ways of eating maybe like 3 or 4 weeks after they saw that I was taking care of myself.
Mm,
So that was one thing that kind of helped. The first couple weeks, super like it was hard. But once if you set like at least like Sundays and Wednesdays, that's what I do. Sundays and Wednesdays to just cook your food and then you're not like so overwhelmed with what they eat. But again, like I said, I have my oldest daughter. After she saw me in this program for like 2.5 weeks, she eats so well. And she was one that wasn't even a fan of vegetables. And she does her own thing right now, but she eats really, really good, making her veggies and protein. So just by seeing me eat that way, it made her want to eat really healthy.
oh
And then,
wow.
yeah, and then my 11-year-old son, who's just he actually loves meat, so he was enjoying that I was cooking meat so much,
Oh,
and
I love
but he's incorporated salads for his veggies.
that. Wow, that's a
It's
hard
something.
sell for a kid.
Yeah, and I think the hardest for me was my little one that's 7. She is a what I would call a chocoholic. She would live off of it. And luckily,
Mhm.
I don't like chocolate, so I'm not tempted. But she was one where it's like, well, let's try this. I'm going to cook this, and this is just what we're gonna eat, and then then you can have a dessert afterwards. So then I kind of mended her like that. I kind of bribed her with the candy after dinner,
Mhm.
But it was like, well, this is what I cooked. Let's work on eating it, and then if you don't like it, I'll try to prepare it a different way so that you like it the next time I cook it. So
Oh,
that's what
nice.
I do in my household, and it's continually getting better over time. But just like with yourself, with myself, and with children, it's not going to happen overnight.
Right. Right. Because I think there's just like when people are asking me this, it's like, oh, what will my partner say? And what will my kids? I think they're afraid of their reaction also of like, how might the family respond to this? Especially, with your daughter, like if you're telling her maybe not to eat as much sweets as before, as much sugar as before, I think that's something that they struggle with. Like, oh, how do you manage like the conflict there? But it sounds like with you what worked was like just being decisive about what you're eating and kind of leading the way for them, and then and working with them like just like let's work together on this. If you don't like it this way, then we could try a different way, and not having that active like inclusion with them in it sounded like it was helpful for you.
Right. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's gonna be so helpful because I don't know, for some reason lately I've been having a lot of people asking me about that, so this is really helpful. And then
And
yeah,
and also, I would just say, remind your kids. Like, I pointed out to my kids, like, I really need to take care of myself right now. And if I'm
mm,
not doing well, I'm not going to be able to parent very well. And
oh,
like, and I had that conversation with my kids because I'm very, you know, I'm very open with them. And it's just like, I need to prioritize myself. And yeah, and they understood. And but it's like I can't be the best version of a mother if I'm not taking care of myself for them,
Oh my
because
gosh.
those
All of
crappy
you
ways of
guys need to
eating,
take notes. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
those crappy ways of eating, like they affect your like your stress levels and like how you react. And I remember times of like I probably ate like maybe like a big meal for fast food and that's all I ate, but that's a lot of crap, and then my kids start doing their little things that kind of nick and knack at you, and then finally it was just like to where normally I don't scream and yell, but on those days I would notice I would more. I'd be aggravated easier, and it's weird to think that what you eat actually affects like how you act, but it does. And you don't realize it until you actually change the foods that you eat. You're like, wow, I'm nicer today.
Wow. And I mean, there are a ton of people who do study that, like food and mood and the brain, the mind body connection, like it's totally related, but definitely too, like if your sugar is all over the place, you are going to be more irritable. That's just your body saying, "Hey, I want more sugar," you know? So definitely there is a link there. But I love that you said that when you had that conversation with your kids, because I think, I think that's part of it too, is like having that open conversation and communication with your family, being honest with them and just letting them know like it's okay to prioritize yourself, because when you do that, then they're taken care of, and and then they're not being yelled at maybe as often as, like not as often as you want to do it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's awesome, because it's so true. It's like I feel like there is a lot of guilt that comes up with being a mom, like, oh, if I don't put them first, then I'm not being a good parent. But it's just like what you're saying. If you're not first, then you're, it's like if it's at your expense, then you're not going to be showing up in your best self to take care of them. And then
Right.
and then it'll lead to you doing things you probably might regret later. So I think that's such an awesome point you brought up. So now, like, after you went through the program, like the 6 weeks, moving forward, what were some, benefits you got from the program? Like, what were some results that you started seeing that you're
Just
amazed with?
enjoying life.
Oh wow, that's
It doesn't
amazing.
seem like, I mean, I don't know if you, I mean, you could say you enjoy life. I've always enjoyed life, but like
Mhm.
I'm actually living life and enjoying life with my kids, with well, not necessarily my family because of COVID, um, but I'm not being a hermit. I mean, I'm staying home, but I'm still reaching out, you know, but I like, if we're all like right now, I'm in a meeting with you, they have school. When we're done, we're gonna go and outside somewhere where we can see the sun and just get some fresh air, to where normally I would just probably turn on Netflix or something. And but yeah, but my I mean, eating habits definitely get better. It's all learning how your body needs to be fueled, which in your program it does very, very well, because you specifically point out that it's not like this is how you do it, because I'm different from you and different from other people. So we all have to find our own way that it works. And I just think mentally and physically, I'm just like striving. I have my days where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. But I think everybody has those. But 80% of the time, I'm just like, I got this. We can, keep planning. And I don't know. I would just say life is very enjoyable, more enjoyable than ever.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think that's amazing that you're able to go to that other side of it, because so many people are stuck in wanting the pleasure of the food and that instant gratification in the moment, that so for some people, it's like it could be hard to see that life could actually be enjoyable when you're not focusing on food so much, for your source of joy. So I think it's awesome that you can experience that, like, oh, on the other side of it, it's like you can enjoy so many other things in your life much more too, like just going outside and finding things to do with your family rather than taking part in the instant kind of pleasures and the instant gratification kind of thing. I'm curious for you, like, for any person who's on the fence about going sugar free or joining one of my programs, like what advice would you give to them if they're kind of hesitant or not sure or uncertain?
I would just say go for it. It's take the leap. It's well worth it. It's so doable, and that's coming from me, who I didn't do anything. Because I think it's been more than 6 months now with you. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's more than doable, and it's so adapting to any lifestyle. You will see the changes, like relationship wise, you'll be better. You'll It's so weird how like just this program, the mindfulness of it, and the self-care, and the, just the all of it, it actually is like a ball that links to every aspect of your life, and it will all get greater. We'll all get greater. So I say take the
Yes.
leap.
Yes, and I say that too. Like, really, just finally bet on yourself. Anytime you want to change your life, it's always going to be a little like scary in the beginning because you're doing something new. But when you actually invest in yourself, and that's actually helping you to also prove to yourself you can make yourself a priority. Like the minute you invest in yourself, you're already committing to yourself as a priority, and then you're already on that path to helping you take care of your self care from that place. But anyway, Elmay, I do just want to really thank you today for joining us, because I know there's so many moms like struggling out there in COVID, and they're eating for pleasure, and they're wanting to like, they're like, when will this get better? So I just have a feeling that this is going to help so many of them. But thank you so much for joining. And I just want to congratulate you for all your success so far. And I'm just so happy that you decided to join us today.
Thank you, Sherman.
Bye, Elmay. Thank you so much.
Bye.